Hi, my name is Tanya and welcome to my small backyard vegetable garden here in central Victoria. After so much rain we have had in the last little while, I came out to enjoy the sun and move a few things so that I have clear access to get my new garden beds delivered. Somewhere along the line of moving things, I decided I would cut these trees down. I will blame it on the sun and the thought of spring's arrival. I had been going back and forth on whether I would cut them down. I think ultimately I've made the right decision, but that still doesn't make this feeling of cutting them out any easier. And although the sun is shining, it's still quite cold, but the sun is definitely giving me spring vibes. This little saw is so handy for these kind of jobs. It's a bit addictive. I can see why people love their chainsaws. It hasn't taken very much effort to be moving them around like this. I can't believe how loose they are in the soil. I am keen to pull as much of it out of the ground. I do not want to be dealing with rootstock shoots. But at the same time, I do not want to be doing too much digging and damaging any of the box hedge root systems. With some much appreciated help from my daughter, everything is cleared now, just a few big pots to move on the day of delivery. It looks a little sad now, but I am trying to remind myself of progress. And usually progress means it's got to look worse before it looks better. Unfortunately, I couldn't wriggle these stumps out, so it looks like a bit of work on the shovel for me. Since that beautiful afternoon in the garden, it feels like it has rained for weeks. I have so many jobs on my to-do list, but I'm starting with the easiest and I have brought a cup of fuel with me. So to start with, I'm getting some more of this parsley picked. I want to get it blitzed and into my freezer. This has me thinking about growing basil, which has me thinking about sorting all my seeds out. I have bought plenty of new packets over winter when I've found them on sale. I'm pretty sure I bought a couple of new basil varieties to try this spring. We are still enjoying last summer's basil frozen into little cubes of summer goodness. I do prefer using frozen over dried herbs. Dropping a vibrant green cube of summer basil into tomato sauce is a joy. And all of this parsley will go into the kitchen sink for a good soak because I don't want any unwanted slugs in my parsley. This poor little banana is looking cold and unhappy. Unfortunately, I did forget to cover it up a couple of frosty nights. I do hope it survives through to summer. In all the excited energy of moving things to get my new garden beds in, moving things back has been a job I've put off. But they are here looking rusty, and I am very excited. All the soil that I have built up with the in-ground beds will go onto the top once I get these filled, and it will be their topsoil. Saving up for and getting the beds sitting in the backyard has been quite a large investment of time and money. So I look forward to getting them filled with soil and productive. Building up the soil inside them, ready for a lot of food growing in the many years ahead. It has taken a week to be able to move this pot. The lawn, or what is left of it, has been so sodden, and trolley wheels on wet lawn is not ideal. And the amount of water this terracotta pot and soil has soaked up during all the rain has made it far too heavy for me to manage it. For now, it's back on the stones, although not back in the same position. It will do for now. This is a blood orange tree and is over 25 years old. For me, it's always been more of an ornamental than a producer, and it certainly looks pretty with all these beautiful oranges hanging off it like ornaments. This old cast iron chair certainly won't blow away in the wind. And a pot of dormant echinacea are going to sit up underneath the potting table. And for anyone with stones, a Dutch hoe is always a good option. I love this tool. It whips through the weeds when they are coming up in the stones, especially this sour grass. And I cannot believe that there are still flowers on this blueberry, even though the leaves have mostly dropped off. I bought these shallots from our little supermarket. I had looked for some organic shallots at the supermarket but couldn't find any. These are the pots I planted a heap of tiny potatoes in. They all shot except this one pot. Looking at this, I am wondering if the soil didn't get too wet. Maybe the hole underneath in the pot is clogged up. Either way, the amount of worms is amazing. We'll see what they do. Finally, the foliage is dying back from all the tiny potatoes. It's pretty protected here, and they've hung on for quite a bit of time, and I am wondering if I shouldn't just dig them up. These $2 markdowns from Bunnings are looking pretty happy. These excess red Brussels sprouts that I planted in here have taken a real hit from the pests. I planted them in here more as a foliage pot filler and a decoy. Like these ornamental cabbages, they make a great decoy crop. I picked up a few more pots of colour to get planted out along here. This Nemesa is beautiful. I'm always on the hunt for an apricot diaska. I used to have them in my garden many years ago and I have not been able to find them. I love the colours of these ornamental cabbages. I had them growing with my peas last year along the wire. And the Maggies have been here taking the wool out of the bed and sitting it along the top of this wall, I think to maybe dry it out before they take it for their nest. Loving these moody toned violas. And an elephant garlic that can get planted. And I have another of my favorites. These are what I call English bells. There's the penstemon I grew from a cutting last year. And more wool the Maggies have been pulling out. Another penstemon cutting that I grew last year, and I'm just looking for the dark purple salvia, and it is in there. They die right back this time of year. Now let's get these plants positioned, or roughly positioned, and get them in the ground. I'm trying not to overthink where the positioning of them is and not poking my eye out at the same time. Got some extra walking onions that are shooting. They're gonna go in here. Nice and easy. Last spring I put the bedding dahlias in here and they got too tall for in under the apple trees. Hopefully these ornamental cabbages will be a great decoy for when the cabbage whites turn up again. And I have to remember that under the black wire bins are foxgloves, so I'm trying to allow for how big they will get. As you can see, the rhubarb is still producing stems, which it has been fantastic. Although it isn't cropping as heavily, there is still definitely stems that I can pick. So I've got what I thought everything in, but I did end up missing one of the pots. And I still have a Nemisa and some more onions that I have to find a home for. But I've missed this one here, so I'll come back and pop that in tomorrow. Hopefully this will be just a little bit of color along this front edge. I picked up a few potted colors to pop in the pots, and of course another rhubarb, but that will wait for another day. I still have that elephant garlic, and I'm just going to take out these eaten stalks. I'm going to leave the lobelia, and this one Brussels can stay, but these can go. And I'll just freshen these pots up a bit. Because this lobelia is looking very pretty. What I did pick up was some strawberries that grow well in pots. They're a smaller variety. I was in search of a punnet of alpine strawberries. So I grabbed a couple of these other potted strawberries and some more purple pansies. And this pink tone, some chives, and this burgundy flowering strawberry. First off, I will divide up these chives, have a little bunch in each pot. I am not putting any in the pot that's going to have the elephant garlic in. The flower on this strawberry is absolutely gorgeous color. And I thought I would get these in, but then decided I will do a little bit of top dress with some cow manure, just to freshen that soil up. Hopefully all these pansies will last well into spring. And the strawberries will probably get planted in my bigger strawberry pot. Just putting all the wool back and hiding the strawberry label in underneath the lobelia. I will be using more wool this spring, summer. As the weather warms up, I do have a small amounts on different garden beds and of course on these pots. I think it's been a great addition to the garden beds, and I'm very happy that I have another whole bale to use going into summer. I've found the mix of using the pea straw and the wool has built up the soil so much and has been excellent for the summer garden and it holding moisture. But really, I am finding that it holds so much moisture that it's probably holding too much moisture for winter when we receive day after day of rain. The good thing is I can sow some seeds straight into the bed, cover them with a bit of dry potting mix, and things will germinate quite easily. There's no having to water anything, and things have been pretty self-sufficient. Now these pots are looking nice and full. Hopefully they all take off. But before I head inside, I am just going to grab a few of these lemons. This is a lots of lemons tree, and it is a patio sized, and I always have a beautiful crop. I love to make lemon curd, and I always celebrate lemon season by making the one and only lemon meringue pie for the year. And with the rest of the lemons, I juice them up and freeze them into ice cube trays and use them throughout the rest of the year. Some of these need a little more time, but aren't looking too bad. Probably the ones that are more in underneath. And it looks like I need to get in and prune this out. This is the gall wasp. I picked up some currant bushes that I need to get planted out, so that is another bush that I'll be trying this year. And this is a really good size lemon for this tiny little tree. They really are the jewels of winter. This beautiful lemon color. It is quite a joy to be picking your own lemons. But before I head in, the light is getting less and less, but I will pick a few turnips to add to dinner. These are absolutely gorgeous, and the leaves will also be added. They won't be wasted. They are so tender and sweet and even delicious eaten raw.